Good morning. I was working in my office during the holidays and the doorbell rang. At the door was a young man and he was holding a big fire truck with a bow on it, and he said, "Hi, I'm Bobby, and this is for a little boy who will be living here this Christmas. I lived here once too. They sent me here after my fourth foster family didn't want me anymore. I remember my 5th birthday party. It was the first one I ever had. My birthday cake was a ho-ho with a candle in it, and I thought it was the coolest thing I had ever seen. People were hugging me and singing to me. He started to cry, and he said, it was the first time anyone ever said, I love you. Providence House has helped thousands of children like Bobby over the past 30 years. We are a crisis nursery offering emergency shelter and services to children who are at risk of abuse and neglect. Unlike other crisis nurseries, Providence House works to stabilize the family as well, helping them break out of multi-generational cycles of abuse, neglect, and system involvement. At Providence House, every child has a reservoir that's been emptied of compassion and love. Our job is to fill it up again, like a 4-year-old who's been hungry most of his life, who learns that he doesn't have to eat until he vomits or hide food for his baby sister, or 14-month-old twins who learn to walk and sit after living in carriers since birth because their mother had nowhere safe to lay them down. And what about Mom? Providence House helps her too. Most of our parents were never parented. They grew up on the streets, in violent homes, or in foster care. They love their children, but are in desperate situations with nowhere to turn. Often, all they need to be pulled back from the brink is a program like ours that teaches them to be the nurturing parent they never had, that helps them find the services they need for their own wellness and stability, that holds them responsible for taking control of their lives and the future of their family, and that safely reunifies these parents with their children. At Providence House, we always look at our families and think, what's their alternative? Leaving their children alone, or with someone unsafe, or losing them to foster care for a year or more? We need foster care, but it is not for every family. Even the people who run the system will tell you that. Because we reunify 99% of our families, we save taxpayers $10 million in foster care costs every year. Think about it. Protecting and nurturing a 3-year-old is far more compassionate and costs a lot less money than letting him grow up in the system and rehabilitating him when he's 18. Providence House is unique in this community, and we have barely scratched the surface. Last year, we served 137 children in a county with over 20,000 reported cases of abuse and neglect. Our model is in demand. What we do in Cleveland works, and it should be working in other communities. In the U.S. today, over 6 million children live at risk, and 2,000 die from abuse and neglect every year. We receive calls from agencies across the country to learn about our model. With your investment and support, we can replicate our model. This is not a pilot program. This is a demonstrated, evaluated, effective service. I could tell you I need money for Providence House in Cleveland, because believe me, I do. But my dream is that the impact and innovation of Providence House goes beyond Cleveland, that every family in every community has a Providence House, that every child grows up in a safe, loving home free from abuse and neglect. I invite you to stop by our table and pick up a ho-ho in celebration of our 30th birthday this year and in honor of Bobby and the thousands of children and families who could be served and saved with your support. Thank you.
We have a couple of volunteers with microphones if anybody has a question about Providence House. And we have our first question up here.
Hi. I wondered, you said that people from around the country were asking you about your model. What is it that they want to know? Why are they attracted to your model?
Most of the nurseries across the U.S. are only focused on children's shelter. And so they're very interested, and all the research is pointing to the fact that it's the work with the family that ultimately will end the cycles of abuse and neglect. And so they're contacting us to find out how we've integrated the traditional crisis nursery model with a much more holistic program that's addressing the family long term. It's really easy to prevent abuse and neglect when kids live with us. The question is, did we do the right work to keep them safe when they go home?
Other questions?
What's your budget? How much does it cost annually to run Providence House?
Too much, and we're privately funded. So we operate right now actually in a reduced census because of funding levels. It's a 1.8 mil. If we had all of our beds running, it would be 2.1. We're heavily mandated on staffing and licensing issues. So.
Other questions? If one occurs to you later, I invite you to find Natalie and ask them herself and get a ho-ho. Absolutely. Thank you very much.